Hello and welcome to the Boomer Live. Today we are here with Sandipani Tiwary to talk about the game between Delhi Capitals and the Rajasthan Royals. If I have to summarize the game for you, it was Rajasthan Royals who was put on to bat by Rishabh Pant. Many thought it was not a good decision, but Royals only managed to score 160 at the end of the 20 overs, and Delhi Capitals had a clinical victory from there on with 8 wickets in hand. And all thanks to Mitchell Marsh, who played a splendid knock of 89. Alongside him was David Warner, who scored brilliant 52. And towards the end, Rishabh Pant came and just put the icing on the cake to finish things off pretty well for them as well. Sandipani, what did you make of this chase? Because this chase was quite clinical by the Delhi Capitals, isn't it? Firstly, let's talk about Rajasthan Royals' batting because many would have raised many doubts because Ashwin came to bat at number 3 once again. What did you make of the knock? Do he score a 50? You reckon 160 was a pass scored in this wicket, or they were 20 runs short?
No, I think it was some sort of like, if not par, I think probably 5 or 10 runs short of par. But it was a very competitive total, because all the more reason why teams are now starting to get a little bit skeptical about winning the toss and trying to chase. Because we have seen in the last few games that teams are finding it very difficult to score 150, 160, and the team which is batting first, and they are successfully managing to defend the totals that they put on
Right.
the board. So it's sort of a trend that we have been seeing. So I think all the more reason why many were surprised when Rishabh Pant decided to actually bowl first. But I think they had faith in their batting lineup. First of all, to restrict Rajasthan Royals for just 160, when they had the platform at the end of the 13th over, they were somewhere 97, 98 for 2. I think from then on, Rajasthan Royals, with the batting that they had, they should have sort of fancied themselves to get at least 170,
You
175.
reckon the experiment of Ashwin, would they consider that to be a successful one? Because he batted at a strike rate of close to 130. He scored a 50 of 38 balls. You reckon that would have been a successful one in their taking? Because I felt Sanju Samson should have walked in at number 3.
I think with the form that Sanju Samson showed in the last few games, like he was in some sort of a touch, like uh, he was scoring those sixes, he was hitting those sixes cleanly. So I think he was in a better form to come in at number 3. And also, given the fact that they had someone like a Vander Dussen, so they could have brought him in at number 4. Also,
Right.
Ashwin was brought in at number 3 just to. I thought initially that he was supposed to play the role of a pinch hitter, but you don't really need a pinch hitter at that point when you have batsmen like Riyan Parag, Vander Dussen, and Sanju Samson to follow, along with Devdutt Padikkal, not to forget Devdutt Padikkal's knock. So I think they had enough batting today, so they could have easily tried Ashwin at number 7, his usual spot. But I think they took a gamble, and they will consider it a success, because he was not like, even though first of all he scored a half century, and then sort of he like played his part. His strike rate was not that bad. If you consider someone like yesterday's knock from Gill, if you consider, his strike rate
Yeah,
was better than Shubman Gill, and he
absolutely.
was sort of rotating the strike well. So I think Ashwin did a very good job coming in at number 3. Also, I think one of the reasons to promote him up the order was they were a bit scared with Hetmeyer not in their lineup anymore, because
Yeah.
Vander Dussen is pretty inexperienced. If you talk about IPL, he has hardly got any opportunities, and whatever opportunities he got, he did not make the most of it. In like today, he scored a good 20 odd runs, but before today's game, he had not made the most of his opportunity with the bat. And also, they with only Riyan Parag, Devdutt Padikkal, and Vander Dussen and Ashwin to come at number 4, 5, 6, 7, you probably don't consider, none of these batsmen can be claimed as a power hitter. Like,
Yeah.
although they are grooming someone like Riyan Parag to be that power hitter for them, uh, I think all the more reason they decided to promote Ashwin of the order. So at least if something went astray, they still had someone like a Sanju Samson to come in the middle order and save it for them.
Yeah, it's a very interesting question from Jaren as well. Uh, yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about, whether he was a pinch hit or a pinch blocker. But I reckon the possible experiment would have been that he should come in at number 3 and just score those boundaries in the power play. But post the power play, whatever we saw of him was just an added bonus. And I reckon I thought he just played the spinners out pretty well as well, especially the way in which he attacked Kuldeep Yadav. The way in which he rotated the strike also against spinners was quite impressive. For his liking, Devdutt Padikkal also came into the fore pretty well. If Devdutt Padikkal
Yeah,
was not striking well, then that would have been a major issue. But I
yeah.
still would be of that fact that Sanju Samson should have batted number three, because if he would have batted for 38 balls, I bet the score would have been at least 10 or 15 runs more. And that would have been the possible difference in this game as well. Chasing 160, chasing a 175 makes a lot of difference. Mentally, or whatever you say it just is an added bonus of plenty of runs. And let's talk about Delhi Capitals batting, because that's been quite impressive today, because it was a clinical performance from their side. Mitchell Marsh, we all know of him to do these kind of innings in the Big Bash, and even with the Australian setup, he has been quite successful with his knocks as well. But today, he just showed in IPL that he's got that in him today, isn't it? That knock of 89 was just pure class. He just took on the ballers whenever it was necessary, he targeted the right ballers as well. And David Warner also gave him a good support. You can say both batsmen were lucky initially. The Mitchell Marsh, when he walked into bat, he could have been out on the first ball. David Warner, the ball hit the stumps. The bails did not come off. But then, once it's your day, you just make it count. And they did make it count as well. What did you make of the Mitchell Marsh innings, Sandipani?
I think Mitchell Marsh has been fabulous for any side that he has come in at number three for. Even batting for Australia, he came in at number three and won them the T20 World Cup in the finals. He played that
Yeah.
extraordinary knock. Again, if you ask me, I think Mitchell Marsh. This is the perfect batting combination that Delhi has going forward. One may argue that they might even try Ripple Patel back instead of Lalit Yadav, because Lalit Yadav clearly did nothing with the ball and bat again. So might as well try Ripple Patel. But apart from that, I think their batting combination right now looks good. Once Prithvi Shaw is fit, he will come in for Bharat. Taking nothing away from Bharat hardly got any opportunities. We expected him to start. This was just the second game, and when you're facing when you're up against somebody like as classy as Trent Bolt, you may have one of those bad days.
Yeah.
So I think he was just trying to pull that ball or hook it for a six, sort
Yeah.
of pull it for a six, but got that edge. So it happens, and I think Mitchell Marsh coming in and stabilizing the ship. Of course, they were lucky. Definitely, Warner was bold, but the bells did not come off. And then Mitchell Marsh on the first ball, LBW, they definitely it was a no-brainer. They should have gone for that review. But apart from that, if you see that some of the shots that Warner played, probably a catch here, a catch there. If Butler would have stuck on to held on to that catch at long off
Yeah.
against Chahal in that over, or probably if Devdutt Padikkal would have been in the boundary. Uh, so yeah, it was a lucky day for Delhi Capitals, but the important thing is that they made most of the opportunity that they got. Mitchell Marsh could
I
have
reckon,
easily,
they
yeah,
need some luck at this point of time, because they've been unlucky through the course of the tournament due to various reasons. It just looks Prithvi Shaw
yeah,
has been out, Mitchell Marsh was down with COVID, and they've been able to. They were in the rooms for a very long period of time where they had to be isolated as well due to the COVID restrictions and protocols. So as a team, they've not had the luck going in their favor, and a lot of
yeah,
unforeseen circumstances have been affecting him for quite a bit of time now. But today they would consider themselves slightly lucky, but they would be like, we will take this any day, because they played really good cricket as well. We gotta give them due for the cricket they played, because some of the shots, it was not it was just brilliant striking of the ball, especially one of the six, Mitchell Marsh hit of Trent Bolt over mid wickets was just classy Mitchell Marsh
yeah,
shot, isn't it? You would have felt like he's hitting this ball out of Western Australia. So that's how the bounce also
yeah,
helped Mitchell Marsh quite a bit today, because he's someone who loves playing on the up, and today's pitch also just helped him in that favor. And just talking about the
yeah.
pitch, let's talk about that pitch, because do you reckon it just got better with dew in the second innings? Because I thought initially it was a two-paced wicket, but with a lot more dew in the wicket in the second innings, I thought the ballers were not able to grip the ball at all, especially with the likes of Chahal and Ashwin, and also with faster ballers. It was not sticking onto the pitch; it was coming on like a dream onto the bat, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was definitely easier to bat second on this pitch. So again, kudos to Rishabh Pant for taking a decision to bowl first when teams have been coming in and batting first, and we have seen that in the last 3-4 games, the team batting first eventually manages to defend the total that they put up. Uh,
Yeah,
but again, the pitch was good, and I think talking about the sixes that Mitchell Marsh hit, even the one he hit against Kuldeep Sen, the one
yeah,
that he hit straight down the ground, I think the sound of the bat was amazing in that one too. So talking about the pitch, I think 170 should have 165, 170 was par. I think with the dew coming in, it was definitely difficult for somebody like Ashwin or Chahal to grip the ball. But we know that Ashwin can like perform magic with very little that he gets. So
Right.
I think they tried their best. It was just not their day. And some phenomenal partnership from Mitchell Marsh and David Warner. They just took the game away. 144 runs out of the possible 161 were scored by them. So they just hung on to the pitch, did not like play any rash shots. Once they had like once they hit a boundary of the over, they we could see that they were not trying to go and muscle those balls for sixes in every delivery. They knew that one boundary per over will like win them the game. And eventually, when the last 6, 7 overs were left, they had the license to go for it.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
The overall Slayer, I request you to PM us on Twitter, or you can DM us on Instagram as well. Boom11, the link is on the bio right now. Just click on our links and DM us or PM us so that we can answer your queries, because it's the kind that you've been playing the fantasy contest on Boom11, and we will be doing something with the exchange of your rewards, whatever you're earning on Boom11 contest as well. So I request you to do that ASAP. Yeah, let's get back into the match as well. Let's talk about Delhi Capitals as a bowling unit today. The Mitchell Marsh. I just want to go back to him again, because him bowling now is just giving them an extra advantage, isn't it? Because before they had to turn to a six bowler who was not the most experienced. He was not most potent in the likes of Lalit Yadav or maybe Rauman Powell at times. But now you have a Mitchell Marsh who has proven himself in international cricket in various teams he plays with his bowling. But nowadays he doesn't bowl a lot because of his injury concern. But I'm sure every time he balls, Australians will be having the heart in the mouth, even Delhi Capitals, because you never know when he's going to pull up. And that's been a long, long history with him, that whenever he goes on to ball here, he just pulls up. We have seen it just in the IPL as well. It has happened a couple of
yeah,
times where he pulls up during his run up, and that's when the thing has really gone down bad. And they'll be really hoping that they don't overuse him as well. But how big an
yeah.
advantage it has been for Delhi Capitals that he's stepping in as a sixth bowler, and he's been delivering four crucial overs, because four crucial overs, and he's also picking up wickets there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think Marsh has now played 4 or 5 games for Delhi Capitals this season, and in the first 1 or 2 games, he was not given the ball because they were using Lalit Yadav as the sixth bowling option,
Right.
and Rishabh Pant took some flack regarding that because he was sort of holding back Kuldeep Yadav and Akshar Patel and giving Lalit Yadav that extra over, which was ending up like going for a lot of runs. So
Right.
I think now with Mitchell Marsh, what he has been doing is he has been bringing him into the attack right after the power play, and then in those middle overs he has been bowling those 2, 3 overs, sometimes four, and he has been doing a pretty decent job. We all know that Mitchell Marsh is probably a very good bowler, not just probably a very good bowler, he's a very good bowler, and he's probably a like to like replacement for somebody like Marcus Stoinis.
Yeah.
So Delhi Capitals got him in place of Marcus Stoinis, so they
Yeah.
are using him like with the true potential that he has. uh, Yes, I think all in all, the replacements again. I'll go back to my point from the last few games
Yeah,
that the
I'll just put
replacements
a
that they
point
have
out
got.
there as well, because do you reckon
Yeah,
that Delhi's bias in the auction was just spot on? Because when you're a good side, other teams look to buy your players, and they've had three successful seasons from 2019, 2021. They made a final, they made the knockouts consistently. You had Navesh Khan, Ashwin, you had Rabada. You lost all of them, but still you were able to build a decent enough side. And in between all these adversities as well, they've been able to pull off a really good campaign, isn't it?
I think Shardul Thakur has not had the best of tournaments this season. They were banking a lot on him. Other than barring Shardul Thakur, all the other buys that they had was very successful, and they understood what exactly they needed. They brought in somebody like a Shardul Thakur in place of Rabada. They thought that probably, yeah, so a foreign player is going in. Since they had to replace Shikhar Dhawan for David Warner, so they needed that one Indian. In exchange of, you won't consider Shardul Thakur a like to like replacement for Rabada. We all know Rabada has been like phenomenal for them, but they realized that they had Enric Norquier, so they just needed some stability in the death along with him. Shardul Thakur has not fulfilled his role the way his franchise wants him to this season. But other than that, all the replacements have been like spot on for them. They knew what exactly they needed. They sort of maintained a core, and then they built a team around the job, like the job descriptions that they needed to fill. Like somebody like a Hetmeyer was replaced by Robman Powell. Somebody like a Marcus Stoinis was replaced by Mitchell Marsh. So they had all those slots covered very well. I think the
Yeah.
only replacement that they missed was of Shreyas Iyer. They would have been very happy if they would have got a good Indian batter at number three, ideally
But
for
I
them.
still reckon they've got the likes of Yash Dul who they can groom, Sarfraz Khan whom they can groom as
Yeah,
well. If they really invest in these two lads, they'll I'm sure they'll reap a lot of benefits out of them in the coming years. But it'll be one of those seasons where they consider themselves to be slightly unlucky. They've not been getting the opportunities. But I still believe someone like a Yasdul should be given an opportunity at number three, and Mitchell Marsh can bat at number four. But today with his innings, I don't reckon that he'll be moving down the order. But that's just my take on it. But
yeah,
that would give them the right balance. That would give them the a balance which is most likely, which they are likely to have, like the past. Like the past, they would possibly have the lineup where you have an Indian batsman walking at number three, you have Mitchell Marsh at four, Rishabh Pant at five. Rishabh Pant can bat at anywhere in the batting order because he's got the ability to turn the matches. And I reckon it'll be more effective for Rishabh Pant to come in after 10 overs as well, because that's what he can possibly go out there and play with complete freedom without even worrying much. And we have seen the best of Rishabh Pant has always come when he plays without any shackles. He just breaks free
yeah,
and plays just like Rishabh Pant. Today also you saw that kind of intent from him in finishing the game off. I'd be very keenly looking forward to have someone like a Yashdul, maybe not this season, at least in the
yeah,
next season, because he's got all the temperament, he's got the talent to be one of the most successful players in T20 cricket as well. And let's see how he goes in domestic circuit this season. Having said that,
yeah,
let's look at what this has done to the points table, because this win was so important for both the sides, uh, uh, and rightfully so. Delhi Capital just grabbed it
yeah.
when it required the most. Let's look at the points table. We have it on the screen right now. Let's see what it has done to the points table right now. We already know that Gujarat Titans have qualified. Now Delhi Capitals jumps into the fifth place with 12 points.
we
Then
can
next
we can
on the
safely say that even Lucknow is not in the race for the playoffs. Like they are in the race for the top two position. They are not sort of in the race for the playoffs right now. We can safely say that they too have qualified. Like not exactly
you reckon so,
statistically right now, but yeah,
because Lucknow they have two big games now. I reckon they are playing Punjab and they're playing
Rajasthan.
no, they're playing Rajasthan and sorry,
Lucknow are
they're playing
playing Rajasthan
Rajasthan, they're
and
playing
KKR.
KKR, right? They're playing
Yeah,
Rajasthan and KKR. It's going to be a big match because Rajasthan will be looking for that win because they can now only climb up to 18 points. And on the other hand, you have someone like an RCB who's going to have two games as well. They can also climb to 18 points. Now, all of a sudden, Delhi Capitals are well within the grab of that fourth position, isn't it? If Rajasthan slips up
yeah.
two games from here on, it is for possibly curtains for them.
And Rajasthan has two difficult games ahead of them. They next go on to face Lucknow Super Giants, and I think then they have their last game against Chennai Super Kings. And Chennai Super Kings with
Absolutely right.
Devon Conway and Rituraj Gaikwad in the current form that they are going to be a difficult team to beat. We all got the news that Ravindra Jadeja will not be taking further part in this year's IPL,
Right.
but I think he could not contribute much with both bat, ball, and even in the field, as per Jadeja's standards that he has set in this season.
Right.
So it was just a bad season for him, probably some injury concerns as well.
I reckon
So
looking at this points table at this point of time, Chennai will be pretty pleased with this win as well. Uh,
yeah, Chennai
we never
KKR, they
know.
are just happy with the win. They are happy as long as Rajasthan and Bangalore loses.
Absolutely. We have a question. Can DC still qualify if they win upcoming match? Definitely they can. Because today's
Definitely.
win has just opened up the table even more. A team like DC will be very happy. Even Sunrisers and KKR and Chennai will be happy because today's match has totally opened up two spots now for the teams. If Rajasthan and RCB slip up their remaining matches and other teams start winning from there on, you never know. That's IPL, That's the beauty of IPL. A last day thriller. Chennai Super Kings there, Rajasthan there. Anything can happen, man. Because this is what we have seen over the years. It goes to the last day to know who seals that final spot for the playoff and who seals their tickets to Kolkata. I reckon the eliminator is happening in Kolkata. So I'm sure
Yeah.
Sandipani would be there in the crowd. He'll be really hoping Kolkata plays But it's going to be
Yeah,
very interesting
definitely.
now. It's going to be very interesting. Sanima, let's talk about today's match in a little more. Now going in the tournament, you know that the playoffs are going to be played in fresh pitches.
Yeah,
And now the pitches are turning just for group stage. You reckon
yeah,
teams will be just trying out spinners just for this group stage, and all of a sudden when they go to playoffs, Kolkata wickets have always assisted pacers in the last 4 years. I would say
yeah.
last 5 or 6 years they've been assisting pace ballers quite well because of the carry, because of the swing. And this part of the year, you expect a little bit more carry from the Kolkata wickets because it's fresh. It's going to be fresh wickets for the new season as well. Same with Ahmedabad as well. Ahmedabad in day-night games, the ball moves around pretty well because of the river side, because of it's
Yeah.
in the same bed as the river side as well.
But
So
Ahmedabad pitches are also good for spinners as well. I think Ahmedabad will be ideal conditions for bowlers. It will be more ideal
right,
for bowlers rather than batsmen.
right. And Kolkata, it helps both for pacers and batters as well. If you're a batter who
Yeah,
likes to
yeah.
play
And
on the ground,
I don't know. In the last three,
you
four
reckon,
years, they have been making the pitches a bit too flat in Kolkata. I
right?
think uh, it was causing harm to their own side as well because Kolkata had very quality spinners in the form of Kuldeep Yadav. Piyush Chawla was not turning the ball anywhere that much because he was more of a googly bowler, somebody like Bishnoi. But he used to get a lot of wickets, Piyush Chawla, with his method. So I think creating these flat tracks has not been helping them or anyone for that matter apart from the batsman. I think David Warner just loves to come to Kolkata and score big.
Yeah.
So does
And
Rohit Sharma.
Delhi Capitals will be really hoping that they qualify for that fourth position because it's still on.
Yeah.
And now you reckon especially a team like Delhi Capitals, they'll be looking to try out someone like a Khalil Ahmed as well because they would want to try him or they want to qualify. That's number one on the priority at this point. But then would they want to try out someone like Khalil Ahmed going ahead because that three pacers in a ground like Kolkata is always useful, isn't it?
I think it's going to be a very tricky choice for them because Shardul Thakur has not at all been coming good for them.
Yeah,
Chetan Sakaria, in whatever opportunities that he got, he was excellent at the death overs. He was brilliant in the power play. So he has been bowling very well. And Khalil Ahmed has been getting those wickets. He has also been bowling very well up in the power play. Sometimes he has gone for a few in the death overs, but again, he has been giving you the wickets when you need them, right up the top, at the top. So I think if they have to try somebody like not try if Khalil Ahmed comes back to the side and if they want to continue playing Sakaria, so I think that the only player that they can consider dropping right now is
Shardul
Shardul
Thakur.
Thakur because I
Do you
think
reckon
they
they
have
can drop
enough
him?
depth in the batting. Yeah,
Do you reckon they can
I
drop
reckon
him?
they can drop him. I
Yeah,
reckon that they can drop him because they have enough depth in their batting. So Mitchell Marsh, Rishabh Pant, Rovman Powell, Lalit Yadav, Akshar Patel makes their top seven. So
yeah,
Shardul Thakur comes in at number eight, and his services has like more often than not been required. His
right.
services with the bat has not been required, and he has not come good with the ball, both in the death overs as well as like in the early phase as well. Just barring that day game against
Yeah,
which side was it where he picked up three wickets? I think Lucknow. In the game against
right,
Lucknow, he
right.
picked up three wickets in the
That
day game.
game, he
Up,
just he just went for plenty of runs as well. I thought it was just a lot of rubbish wickets. Towards the end, he picked up one,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he just picked up two. That's the only three wickets which fell in that game as well. But uh, yeah, talking about that Rajasthan Royals, do you reckon they'll be concerned at this point of time? Because Shimran Hetman, I'm not quite sure if he's going to be fit for the next match as well. And if they lose the next match, all of a sudden their position in the playoffs are under serious trouble, isn't it?
I think if they have to promote somebody like Ravi Ashwin up the order, and they have enough depth in their batting, they can. If they would have thought of this combination going ahead, I think Jimmy Nisham would have been a better option rather than Vander Dussen. Because somebody as classy as Vander Dussen, you're bringing him down at number seven because you have a lot of batsmen to like fill in the roles of number four, number five, number six. So I think Vander Dussen coming in at number seven makes no sense for me. If you have to try like play a foreign batter at number seven, it should be either Shimran Hetmyer who knows how to end like finish the innings, or somebody like a Jimmy Nisham who
Yeah,
can also give you those overs with the ball. Because Rajasthan Royals are just going in with five bowlers, and Riyan Parag is their probably sixth bowling option. Also, they have Yashasvi Jaiswal, but they haven't used him. So they have been just trusting on their five bowlers, and you never know. Prasidh Krishna, now and then he might have a bad game. Kuldeep Sen can go for a few. when he's just trying to bowl that aggressive line, fuller line deliveries. He can go for a
Yeah,
few. And also we have seen that Ashwin, if he tries to become defensive, he goes for runs.
yeah.
So I think Rajasthan Royals, if they wanted to, if they want to persist with Ashwin at number three, or probably Ashwin a bit higher up the order, they can try
Yeah.
in Jimmy Nisham instead of
Right.
Van der Dussen.
It's funny how IPL works. Rajasthan Royals were considered to be the team which had the best balance at the end of the auction, and even when the IPL started, because they were soaring away from the rest. And but all of a sudden, when they started losing, there have been glooming holes over there, which people can notice, and
No,
you
but I
find there's
think
drama.
yeah, but I just to bring back that point. I think Rajasthan Royals still have one of the most balanced side in this tournament, because if
But
you
I
consider
reckon,
what are the
their
loopholes,
batting is still not deep. They have
yeah,
major issues when it comes to their depth in the
yeah,
batting. They've been saved plenty of times by Joss Butler's brilliance and also by Shimron
yeah,
Hetmeyer. But if you just bar these two, Sanju Samson has had a very ordinary season with the bat. David Padikar hasn't really come into the party as well. And Rian Parag, just barring that one knocking his RCB, hasn't really done well. So it's been these two lads who have carried this team so far and when it comes to their batting. And all of a sudden, when Butler failed, no Shimron Hetmeyer, this team was struggling today. Though Ashwin
yeah,
played that brilliant knock of 50 and then Devdutt did, but then that score wasn't enough to defend. And also when it comes to their bowling as well, they rely heavily on their spinners. If their spinners don't come effective at all, it's a tough day for them, because their death bowling is a major issue for them, because it's one thing which we all spoke about. They try to finish the game in 7 to 15 overs. They don't rely to
mm,
finish the game in the last 5 overs. We've seen time and
yeah,
time again they leak plenty of runs in the death overs. Even when they've scored 200 plus once, teams have come just close because of their poor death bowling ability. But now
yeah.
you never know with last time what's going to happen, and you never know with IPL as such what's going to happen. Maybe this time this team might not even qualify, and all of a sudden there'll be a lot of questions if this team doesn't qualify, and it's going to be quite funny to see that. But
Yeah, that
as
will be a big bet to
yeah,
place right now. If you call it that Rajasthan Royals will not qualify from here, it is going to be a big thing to ask for. Ask of the other teams as well. Yeah,
yeah. Yep. Yeah. The overall Slayer, we will be replying you within a couple of hours. Understand it's late night over here.
yeah,
We'll be addressing your query ASAP on the gift card, and whichever platform we message, we will be initiating the conversation very soon. Thank you. Having said that, how did your day go in the fantasy field? Did it go pretty well, or do you have a okay kind of a day?
yeah. I bounced back like excellently from the last game. I had Mitchell Marsh as captain in one of the Grand League teams. I just made
Wow.
two teams. I just made two teams. I had Mitchell Marsh as my captain in the Grand League one, and the other team was a safe team where Butler was the captain, Warner was my
Yeah.
vice captain. So vice captain
Yeah.
worked as well, but that was the safer one. And in the Grand League today, I won plenty because Mitchell Marsh. Just rolled over all the other players. I think
Yeah.
he gave over 300 points to me today.
Wow, yeah. I mean, when you
So
have a captain, yes. I just had him as a
yeah,
player in my team. I had Rishabh Pant and Andrik Nokia as my captain and vice captain. I expect
yeah.
Rishabh Pant with his average against
Enric Norke
RCB.
was my vice captain in the one where Mitchell Marsh was my captain.
Yes,
It was
yes.
Mitchell Marsh and Enric
On
Norke.
Andrik Nokia had a very good game. Just
Yeah,
he picked up 2 wickets. He gave me close to 100 points plus. But Mitchell Marsh, I really wanted to put him as captain, but I just thought maybe Rishabh Pant would come good, and he was looking really good. If it was a
yeah,
250 score, maybe you never know.
yeah, yeah.
I really
If
wish today
Delhi would
Rajasthan
have
was
batted
captain.
first. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah,
but unfortunate. Whatever it is, that's how fantasy works. Nonetheless, I'm happy I got my returns back. Having said
yeah,
that, guys, I request you all to play our fantasy contest at boom11.com. The link is in the bio. You can just click on it and play the fantasy contest for absolute free of cost, and you'll only get rewards. So, have you ever heard of something like that? You don't have to spend a single penny from your pocket. So there is no loss whatsoever. You're going to only get rewards, which is going to be worth $5,000 playing in this IPL. So don't miss out on the chance. And also follow us on Twitter, because that's where we'll be previewing the games. We'll also be giving fantasy predictions alongside Sandipani, Jones, Crazy Nicks, and myself. And if you go to Instagram, you can follow us there, because we provide some really funny memes over there. Alongside, we also give some top 5 fantasy picks as well. And do like and subscribe our YouTube channel, because we'll be coming live after every game, and also share the video so that we can bring more of this content for you people. Having said adios, have a good night. Thank you, Sandipani. Hope you all enjoyed the game
yeah.
as well.
Yeah, have a good night, guys.